Well, it's 1:12, so I'm gonna make this one quick. I got up at 5 in the morning, and this was at the end of my fast. I had about 6.5 hours to go. I was woken up by two cats fighting in the front of the house. It startled me greatly, to the point where I was shocked out of sleep. I decided since I was up and still running on my own body fat as fuel, I would walk up to a cup on the table, fill it with water, and then sprinkle a little bit of Himalayan salt and mix that to get my electrolytes in. I then decided I would go to the plasma donation center, ask for a new copy of paperwork because I have a doctor's appointment scheduled to verify if it is safe for me to donate plasma. But I needed a fresh copy of the paperwork in order to do just that. When I got in the car, normally when I make a long car trip, it takes me a really long time to get to the location. But because it was early in the morning and there wasn't much traffic on the streets, the ride was really short. I was surprised. On top of that, normally I listen to something on my drive because I'm like, oh, this is gonna take a while. I better keep myself entertained while I drive over to this location. But I think it was a combination of the short driving distance due to a lack of traffic, on top of me feeling just very mentally clear headed. The best way I could describe it is that it was as if I was a sleeper agent that heard a tone that activated my hyper focused, hyper get it done mode, which I found utterly fascinating and really cool. I drove off to the donation center, but not before sending a text message to my mom letting me know where I was going in case she had woken up while I was gone and needed to know where I was. So I drove off. I arrived at the center. I walked in. The funny thing was, because the knob wasn't moving up or down and it was kind of locked in a position, I thought, oh, they're locked, even though it says on their door that they're open today. Well, that's weird. And then what looked to be a security guard walked up and just pushed the door open by grabbing the handle and pulling it open. So when I saw that, I was like, oh, I guess I just needed to do that. So I did that, and lo and behold, the door opened. When I got inside, I waited in line behind a couple. There was a guy who was going past me in a wheelchair, and he needed some help with the door to the donation center. So I opened it for him. I remember he said, "Thanks, boss." I don't know where that phrase came from, why people are like interested in or say that as a thing. That would be interesting to look up because to me, I think that it feels like that kind of language started back in 2000 and 22 or 3. Like I don't remember, or maybe even 2017 or 18. I don't know when it started. It just feels recent. And because it's recent, it feels kind of odd that it's being used all the time. I've never called anyone boss, and I don't even know why people say it. It's very odd. It's kind of like when Mexican parents call their little ones mama or papa. It's like, why are you calling them? Are you subtly, are you turning them into a sleeper agent so when they get old enough to start dating, they'll want to become a mama or a papa? So you're instilling that idea into them at a young age. Am I overthinking this? Is it just oh, saying people think is cute and heartfelt, so they say it? Is that what's going on here? I don't know. I don't understand any of this. Well, anywho, I got caught up on that. Moving on. So eventually the couple was done. I walked up and I met the nurse who was there, I brought a copy of the paperwork that I had signed a month ago, and I explained everything about how I had the blood test done, the lab work done, and I scheduled a new appointment so I could verify that it was okay for me to donate. I just need a copy of the paperwork. So they told me they would be getting a copy and they just needed me to wait. So I sat in the waiting room for what felt like 20 to 30 minutes. I didn't really look at my phone too much, um, only for like the time. And then eventually I was called back. They gave me the paperwork. I asked them a few follow up questions like when could I expect the doctor to be here so I know to deliver my finished paper right when they're able to inspect. And they said since the doctor has such an infrequent schedule, that's pretty impossible to lock in. So you're going to have to just deliver the paper and then call us back and ask for updates. So I was like, all right, I guess I'll do that then. Um, yeah. And then I told them that I remember emailing my work done to them. They looked at it and they said, everything looks good. All you need to do is just to have the doctor bark, it's okay for me to donate every 2 weeks. So I'll be fine to do that. So yeah, I'm going to see my doctor on the 1st. I'm going to ask how safe it is for me to donate plasma and how my overall health is, and hopefully it ends up being good. We'll see. Well, anywho, after that, I went out into my car. I texted my mom again, letting her know I'd be arriving home very soon, and then I drove off. Of course, well, I set up where I need to go on my phone, and then I drove off. So I drove off. It was pretty short trip, all things considered. I eventually arrived, and when I arrived, my mom had woken up recently, and I greeted her, and we basically just hung out, and I told her all about my experience with fasting and why I was out and what I was doing. And yeah, I basically just said I felt like I had this sense of pure mental clarity that I haven't had in quite a long time. And it was really nice. I really enjoyed that pure sense of mental clarity. It made my mind feel wide open. So that was really cool. Um, then um, I suddenly need to use the restroom. Um, then I remember there was some questions my sister was asking me, and I was giving answers. And then after that, I got out, and then me and my mom decided to go for a walk. My middle sister was outside waiting for my youngest sister because they were doing another day at the con. So we greeted her and we wished her and my middle sister the best, or my middle sister and my youngest sister the best. And they drove off. And yeah, we went for a nice walk and we just had a nice time enjoying each other's company. It was pretty cool. Eventually, we arrived back home. When we got home, um, I remember what happened after that. Hmm. I I remember my mom wanted me to read this book. I think it was called like Creation or something like that. And then she and our family friend left to go to church. Um, I stayed behind because I wanted to break my fast at exactly 11:30. So I decided to list start reading the book, but then in the middle of reading it, I got the idea of downloading the PDF of the book and then putting it on the app 11 Reader and listening to a text to voice read it for me so I could do something else. And that something else was make a quiche for my fast breaking meal. So I looked up a recipe, I found one, I made the quiche, I fried and rendered bacon in a pan, um, and it was all very good, very enjoyable. Um, but because my body hadn't been used to eating food for 3 days, well, let's just say I got the bubba guts. It was not fun and hurt like heck. Um, but the quiche was so good that I returned for a little bit more. And I actually got these drink mix packets from my job that I decided to pour into water and mix around and drink. They were lemonade drink mix packets. And they were pretty gosh dang good actually. Like I really enjoyed those. And they didn't even have sugar. They were like 10% calorie or 10 calories. Yeah. I then had a cup of coffee. And I had two large cups of those lemonade mixers, and then I just had the mixer on its own without any liquid. Probably a terrible idea because I put so much acidity in my body at a time when my body had little to no food in it. So, you could imagine that's probably not going to feel great after it leaves. Sorry for that, but it had to be said. Oops. Okay, so yeah, after eating, I had some issues, needing to use the restroom. When I was done, my mom and our family friend had returned. They ate the rest of the quiche I made. They said they greatly enjoyed it. Family friend so much so that she finished the whole thing. Normally she eats like half of the food and leaves the other half to never eat, but this time they actually ate all of the food. So I guess that's a good sign of sanity. It was really good. Then, after that, my mom made cinnamon sugar toast, and she asked me if I wanted one. In reality, I really should have said no because apparently, like Google Gemini states that like if you eat high carb, high sugar meals soon after breaking a fast, it could spike your blood insulin levels and then immediately drop down, leading to severe crash that could zap you of all of your energy. But I basically just sort of caution to the wind and ate the cinnamon sugar toast because it looked good. I then had another cup of coffee, but this time I had some heavy cream and some brown sugar in that. And that tasted like Starbucks quality. It was really impressive how good that was. Well, after eating that, I and drinking that, and we had like extensive chats with Gemini about various different topics from metabolic health to fasting benefits to what's a good diet for someone to follow based on their age and height. We got deep into the weeds of different details. It was pretty insane. Then after that, I decided to go. Wait. After that, my mom and I cracked each other's backs, and then my mom needed help moving some plants to the backyard so she could place them and dig them in the backyard soil. So we did that, and that was a lot of fun, very enjoyable. Um, Although the sun was beating on our faces, I was worried we were going to get sunburns again, so I wasn't looking forward to that. And then after that, I needed to take a shower because it was starting to get later in the day. So I took a shower, put on moisture cream, deodorant, my work clothes, and I was ready to go. So I said goodbye to my mom. I said goodbye to our family friend. I told them both that I love them, and then I drove off to work. When I eventually got to work, I punched in, and yeah, as expected, the schedule was sweeps all day, except for the last 2 hours where I had a lot on top of sweeps. So double sweep, double lot duty, pretty crazy. Yeah, so yeah, the day consisted of sweeping produce, break room, storefront, um, checking restrooms, making sure they had everything they needed, refilling any paper towels or um, toilet paper if they were low, taking out trash that was in excess, and wiping down soda spills. Yeah, that pretty much sums up the whole day very tidily. I did take a few orders out as well. Anything interesting that happened within that time frame? Um, I was pretty goofy sometimes. I was like, "Woo, how you guys doing? Woo," you know. Um, so yeah, that was cool. Um, yeah, that's about it. Like nothing too crazy happened. I let some people know about my fast update and how I felt. I told them, yeah, I felt like a sleeper agent. That was pretty cool. And they were like, "Whoa, that's crazy." And yeah, then they told me that they like some of them told me they went on a fast and they like some went for like 5 days and they had this sense of complete mental clarity and euphoria, even though they were, you know, deprived of energy. And then I said, well, you got to take those electrolytes to ensure that your energy levels are sustained during a fast. So, yeah, pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. I found out that we were having a deal at our store where if you were an employee, you got 20% off any store branded product. So I decided to take advantage of that. When I punched out for my first break, I went over all the different items available. I got pinto refried beans with lard in a container. I got um, four New York steaks. I got a stack of pork ribs that were frozen. That looked really good. Um, very marbled. I also remember I got thin cut fries and uh, and 5 cheese garlic bread and a sub sandwich. And that's pretty much what I got. I bought all that. I took it upstairs. Um, and then I continued back through the rest of my day, taking out all the trashes, bringing in the bags, and yeah, I got all two of those things done before my lunch break, which was surprising to me. When I punched out, before I punched out my lunch break, I took out an order for a coworker who needed to leave by then, so I decided to get out for them. I got a call from our family friend telling me that they were originally planning on making me a burrito, but then I said, no, that's fine. I brought a burrito. Oh, I forgot to mention this. Earlier in the day, they made burritos like 4 hours before I was ready to break my fast, and they offered me one, and I said, not yet. And they said, well, we'll put it in a baggie, and you can take it to work. And I was like, all right. And it was basically made of hash browns and egg. So that's what I had. Um, and that's what I took. And they were like, all right, that's cool. And then I told them about how I got these 3 stacks of meat, like $36 for 4 steaks and 1 large stack of ribs, which is a pretty great deal. I asked if they were interested in going halves on it with me, and they said yes. So we went halves on it together. So we'll have a really high quality 4th of July dinner when that eventually arrives. It's going to be great. So yeah, I punched out. I went upstairs. and I just had this cavalcade of different foods, from the pinto refried beans that I microwaved, um, to one fifth of a family size sub sandwich, uh, to a um, to the burrito, the breakfast burrito, um, and then a bottle of water. I pretty much pigged out. It was crazy. Oh yeah, I almost forgot to mention that I did get two little containers of ice cream when I was on my first 10-minute break. One was Moose Tracks and one was Bear Tracks, because those looked good to me. So yeah, I had all that stuff, and yeah, I ate it. It was pretty good. As I was eating that, I was watching this new Jesse Michaels video where he's interviewing two Hollywood writers who claim they had unique experiences with what they describe as anomalous things happening to them, from working on a show about aliens to being contacted by people who said, "You got a lot of things right, but a lot of things wrong. Want to join forces so we can lead you in the right direction?" And yeah, lots of interesting stories coming from that. Like, one guy said he witnessed a bunch of like horrific things that happened around him that he was were completely out of his control. So yeah, very fascinating. Eventually, after that, um, eating that extensive meal, I punched back in, but I guess that extensive meal gave me the bub guts because I needed to use the restroom again. After I was done, I filled the cleaner. I checked to see if all the check stands had paper towels. They did. I wiped down all the check stands. My coworker brought in the carts and signs. Very grateful for that. Thank you. Um, I I did I did some go backs, but my coworker did most of the go backs. Oh, and by the way, this scratch right here, that just came out of nowhere. Like, I had an itch around this part of my face, so I tried to itch it, but one of my nails was so sharp. I think it was this one. It just scratched through, and yeah, that sucks. Kind of irritating, not gonna lie. Well, anywho, yeah, not much to say. Just continuously rotate through bagging, wiping check stands, clearing a lot, um, closing produce blinds at the end of the day, um, punching out, uh, going up. Oh, I brought back a fly swatter before punching out, by the way. After punching out, going upstairs, getting all the. Oh, almost forgot to mention this. On my second break, I decided to return two products. One was the fries, and the other one was the garlic bread with the 5 cheeses. And the reason for this was because the bill was. I mean, it wasn't terrible. It was like $60 for what amounted to like 8 items. I mean, that's not too bad. I mean, I guess it's not great, but I mean, what are you going to do with today's prices, right? But I thought, maybe I don't really need those. I probably could make those at home. So I decided to return those, and keep the things that you definitely can't make at home, like a stack of ribs or some, meat. Or you can make ice cream at home, but it's real pain in the butt. Um, but yeah, and it probably costs a lot more money than just buying ice cream, anyways. So yeah, after I was done with all of that, returning those products, and then you know doing the closing stuff, and then punching out, my manager asked me if there was anything I wanted to get at the store. So I decided to run over and grab these things called Dr. Rotten's, like, sour gummy worms, because the whole gimmick was that used like better ingredients. So I was like, oh, that sounds interesting. Let me try that out. So I bought that. And then I immediately went upstairs. I told the co-manager, that I needed to go up to put my to get my food and bring it with me. All that was there was the meat, the ribs, and the ice cream at that point, along with the Dr. Rotten gummy worms. So I was walking downstairs, but then one of the bags ripped open and I had to pick up my food off the floor. I walked up, I showed the manager the ripped bag, I asked them if I could get another one. They said sure. So I got another one, but I decided to double bag it with all the remaining groceries in it, and it seemed pretty stable, but my co-manager told me that it'd be best to lift it from the bottom, and then I said, well, what's the point of the handles then? And then they were like, and then they said good night, and I said good night back, and they said go home safe. I was like, thank you, you too. Then I walked to my car, put the food in, decided to continue listening to the Jesse Michaels UFO podcast with those two Hollywood writers, drove back home. When I arrived home, I put away the food I got, and then I was continuing to listen to the Jesse Michaels interview while eating the one serving each of those ice creams I got. I did, on my second break, I did eat a little bit of the ice cream that I got, so that was pretty good. And then after all of that, I decided to try to remember. Oh yeah, I washed my ice cream bowl and plate, or sorry, my bowl and spoon. My bad. And then I took my magnesium and K2 pills. I brushed my teeth, and then I decided to continue watching that video before eventually deciding to make this video. And that's pretty much the day in a nutshell. So, yeah, that's where I'm going to leave it. Thank you for watching. Very much appreciate it. And I will see you in the next one. Bye, everybody.